Hello, and welcome. It's Friday. Welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. Welcome. It is definitely 1:13 and not 1 p.m., so I apologize for being a few minutes late, but I had some things to take care of, but I made it, and I'm excited to launch today's segment of A VO's Journey show. We're going to be doing something a little different on Fridays, and I'm calling it Fiverr Friday. And basically, being a top-rated seller, I get a lot of questions about a variety of things. We also have the amazing Fiverr Elite group, which if you're interested, we would love to have you join. We meet once a week, every Saturday, and the whole purpose of that group is just to grow our business and, help each other get as far as we can on Fiverr. But I want to take today, on Friday, to do kind of a question and answer session about Fiverr and do a little bit of talk, some things that I think that you could do to help your business grow. Because, for me, as you might know, I absolutely love Fiverr. I make the majority of my income, voiceover income through Fiverr. So it is a place for me that I absolutely love. So with that being said, today I do want to talk about something that I was seeing in the group, in my Facebook group, A VO's Journey Facebook group. You can find us there. We'd love to have you join. And there was some talk about Fiverr's Learn courses. So I just want to do a brief thing about the Learn courses. On Fiverr's Learn courses, basically Fiverr launched this separate, kind of Udemy or place like what is it called? These places that offer a whole bunch of different type of courses, online courses, right? And basically it's called Learn, right? Like they're called Fiverr Learn. And you can go to this, you can get there on the page. And by taking these courses, the courses are all about, freelancing different services like social media, Adobe products, how to, set up a WordPress site, all these things meant to help freelancers get better at their craft. But in order to, promote the sale of these online courses, what Fiverr does is once you buy one of these, you take it and you finish it. Okay, what happens is that you actually get a boost to your account, meaning that Fiverr is going to boost a couple of your gigs, all right, up in the rankings, and you get a return from the amount of business that you get from that. I have personally taken like 14 or 15 of these courses. I'm not lying to you. You can actually go to my gig, which is ATPCRE, and you can actually look. And if you go to the profile, you'll see all of the different tags. You get a little emblem when you complete a course. And I firmly believe in these, and I do at least one or two a month. And it is great learning. You learn a lot of information and you get a boost to your account. And the reason why I was talking about it, like I said, because I saw it on Facebook and some people were asking questions and, there were some answers. And I just wanted to clear that up for anybody who is interested in trying to find another way to boost your Fiverr business. But anyways, with that said, I want to open it up to see if anybody has any questions about Fiverr or the Fiverr group that we're doing every Saturday, which I'm super excited about. So tomorrow we'll be getting back into that. It's 10 a.m. Eastern, but it's a complete replays too. So, if you can't make a Saturday or something, or you're at a different place in the world, you can do that as well. All right. So let's see. We got Frank from Instagram. What's up, my man? Good to see you, Frank. We've got John from Facebook. We got Joe from YouTube. We've got Paul. We've got Tennessee. Yes. Is it snowing in Tennessee, Paul? That would be my question to you. I wonder if it's snowing out there. We have not gotten any snow. So I'd love to get some snow. I think my camera is a little blurry, but hopefully that is all right. What up, Big Jim? It's good to have you. It's good to have you here. Yeah, so we did a quick take in the beginning about doing the Fiverr Learn courses. It's a great thing to boost your account. Do not overlook these. Okay? Do not overlook these. It's a big deal. It really does. It makes a huge difference, and it really works. And if you don't think if you don't think that it works, you know what I mean? I can only attest from all the ones that I've taken and how it's helped me. Okay? You do have to finish the course, though, and complete it in order for you to get your boost. But, yeah. All right, Paul says no snow. Snowing here in Southern California. Oy, Joe Tate. Frank Block says Frank in Canada is in the house. Awesome, Frank. I bet it's snowing in Canada. I would always want a white Christmas, but we don't. I'm in southeastern Virginia, so we did not have one, although I know a lot of people are getting snow throughout the country. All right, you guys. Well, if there's not going to be any questions or anything about Fiverr today, I just wanted to throw that out there that I'm going to be doing these Fiverr Fridays where I'm going to give you a little tip about something to do on Fiverr to grow your business. And then we are going to move on to a question and answer session. And you can ask me some questions and everything. And also, I want to just remind you again about the Fiverr Elite Group. I'm talking a lot about it because I absolutely love it. It is going great. We've got 40 members in the group, and it is, to me, one of the best opportunities to be with people and a top-rated seller that I know to really grow your business and to be able to be in a community of like-minded individuals who are, holding each other accountable, et cetera, and all that stuff. So I'm excited about it. So, you'll be able to see there'll be a link in this description as well as you can go to aviosjourney.com. All right, so let's see. We've got some people coming in with some stuff. Dwight going to set up a Fiverr gig in 2020 after being out of the game for many years and basic rules for a gig that gets clicks. Yes, so Dwight, good question. The biggest thing, honestly, is to fill out your profile completely from head to toe. There's a bunch of other stuff, but the biggest thing I can say is fill out your profile from head to toe. Make sure it's absolutely filled out to the very best that you can make it. Okay? Treat it as professional as you can. And I'd say that for anything, not just Fiverr, but treat it as professional as you can because, you could make so much money from Fiverr, from the business they bring you. So you really need to treat it as such. Okay? Let's see. Steve, yay and stuff. John, no snow in London yet. Gosh, this snow, right? Joe, how many gigs would you recommend when first starting out? Great question. So when you first start out as a level 0 seller, you get 7 gigs. And when you get to level 1, you get 10. And when you get to level 2, you get 20. And when you become a top-rated seller, you get 30. I recommend when you are first starting out, you need to find your way in. Meaning there's going to be a crack somewhere. There is, because there's a lot of voiceover artists on Fiverr, but not that many. And there's a lot of segments and places, there's a lot of keywords, there's a lot of things being searched on Fiverr where there's only 1 page or 2 pages, and your job is to figure that out. So my suggestion is, and what I did was I had, between 10 and 15 gigs for a while. And it wasn't until you reach the top right before you're going to get to top rated seller that you kind of switch and more focus on one or you more focus on a core set of gigs and grow those, because the more you can put through, the more reviews you get, et cetera, the more clout you get. But when you're first starting out, you got to be found, right? And the way to be found is to really, get as many out there as possible. So good question. I would do as many as possible, different ones, trying to find your way in, trying to find that crack. And that's what I did when I first started. I got in with doing scary voices, and then I got in with audiobooks, and, I just went from there. Now I do pretty much all commercial work. Okay? Let's see. Laura Lee says, does Fiverr offer tax prep class? That would be awesome. Yeah, good call. Fiverr does have as another business that they started called And Co. It's called And Co, like And Company. And you can actually, it's like a whole business services suite where they can teach you and you can learn and you can use it as like a CRM and all kinds of stuff. Check it out. It is like a monthly subscription to it, but you can find it again at the bottom of Fiverr. It's a really good, got taxes. They've also got different courses. My suggestion to anybody is to really explore Fiverr. And especially all the links on the bottom, because they have lots of different tutorials and things on taxes as well. Also, you understand too, there's a lot of people that do tax stuff on Fiverr as well. But I suggest you look at those things and look at And Co. That's the actual name of it, of the company that is linked to Fiverr. That is a Fiverr company that offers all kinds of different things too. Let's see. David Ploss, happy to be here, driving through northern Ohio right now, and it's 60 degrees. Wow, that's wild. Frank says, saw a gig this morning of a guy charging $100 right out of the gate. Explain. You explain, Frank. I'm kidding, buddy. So he's been doing that for a long time. I know exactly who it is. And you can decide to do the same thing. All right? Just know that, you are competing with those people. And they always say, like, either you're going to be the highest or you're going to be the lowest, but be cautious about being in between. And that is definitely something that I have seen. And but if you notice, there's only one or two people that do that. And the reason is because when you go to do that, you're going to be compared. And if you want to be compared, that's fine. But just note that unless you're a top-rated seller like him, all right, and, and he's done some interviews too. I've actually, I messaged him as well and talked to him, and he's actually doing a lot less. He's doing a lot less voiceovers now. He's actually into hockey, which is a really interesting, really cool guy. But anyways, I was going to interview him for the podcast, but he was working on some other things, so he couldn't make it on the show. But yeah, it is just the difference of what prices you offer and what people are willing to pay you. My suggestion is try it out. Test it out with a gig. See if anybody bites. Okay? All right? You've got to find out where you fit in. That's all I'm going to say about that, because honestly, there's not many people who do that. It's basically like him and maybe another people, one or two other people. And you got to think, too, he's been doing that for a long time. And I'm trying to remember what his name is on the thing, but I know who you're talking about. Let's see. Is the Fiverr group info in the description box? Yes, it will be, Liz. I will put it right after this. But you can go to www.avo, it's AVO journey, VOs, it's AVOS journey. It made sense when I did it, but it seems a little hard to say. But yes, you can go and find it there, but I will put a description in the box down there for you. And let's see, maybe I can pull it up here. Here we go. What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to post it down here, right here and right there. All right, let's see. There is the... All right, I'm posting it to Facebook and YouTube. That is the place that you can go and check it out and see, hopefully it's something for you. All right. Let me know if you got that, Liz. Hopefully that came through. Okay, so let's see. Steve, if a buyer wants a VO for their website that they say is not a product or service, then is that an instance to waive broadcast and commercial rights? Great question, Steve. So here's my take on this, and I was having something the other day about this as well. So Fiverr kind of, and this is another reason why Fiverr got a lot of, or Fiverr gets some pushback, okay, is because Fiverr kind of created their own So let me go about it this way. Fiverr was trying to figure out a way, all right? At least this is in my, limited wisdom, right? But I think Fiverr was trying to figure out a way, and it seems like, to make what we do more of a product, right? Make these services more like products so that they could be purchased like online products, which we enjoy if we are, getting business through Fiverr, because it's purchased like that. It's purchased quickly without having to do too much to get it. Okay. So, because of that, Fiverr had to take some of the traditional things in voiceover, for example, and kind of change them around, right? So if you think about traditionally in voiceover, when we have a recording session, what we basically do is we record, we are paid for a recording session, like you might be paid $50 or $100 for an hour. And then, right, you are paid to license your work based on what the voiceover is being used for and how long it's being used for, right? So if it's being used for like radio over a regional spot, you are paid X amount of dollars for 6 months or a year or 2 years, or you could possibly even, they could even buy it out. All right. And these are similar things to commercial rights and broadcast rights. But Fiverr wanted to make it a lot more condensed so that someone like a solopreneur who, when I say solopreneur, like one person running a business like most of us, could utilize these services without having to pay, these astronomical rates. Fiverr created this way for people to buy out things easily. So because of that, that's what this whole system on Fiverr has kind of created. Now, Fiverr left it open, though, for you to continue to do that. However, the old way of doing things, which is not the old way, voiceover artists still use it and around the world, and I still use it in other places, but on Fiverr, it's not really done that way. But there's places where you can add add-ons in your extra section, that you can add an extra that says, if you want regional rights for a year, you can put that down. You can say, if you want rights for 10, for 1 million people to see this for X amount for like a year, right? Something similar like Voice 123 does now with their rate card, you can do that. Okay, so they do leave it open for you to make your own decisions, but in general, no. So what I'm getting at with all of this is that you have to make some hard decisions about you as a business owner and what your business will do when you're on Fiverr. This is a big decision. I personally have put together on my Fiverr, and I go about this over in the elite group, the Fiverr elite group, about how to actually set it up to where people are going to pay the commercial and broadcast rights, 8 out of the 10 times, as opposed to 2 out of the 10 times. And it really boils down to expectations. But if you don't have a buyer, if a buyer comes and says, I'm a student, because I work with that. I work with a lot of students who do, small projects for business classes and stuff like that. I'm not going to charge them commercial and broadcast rights. And that's why Fiverr offered it as an add-on or an extra and not just built in. Now, you can decide to build it into your course if you want, but that's up to you. I do not. I have it separate. But, that is something that I waive that. At the same time, my expectations, and I do it in a way in which it really discourages people who are going to use it to kind of try to scam me. So I figured out how to do that. So anyways, that's really totally up to you. Okay, good question. Paul, I can't seem to get a good connection. We are mobile. I'm going to watch the replay. I'm really excited for those that have recently gotten top-rated seller. I'm hoping to achieve it soon. I've been qualified for going on 6 months, and I have excellent ratings, all 5-star, for 5 4-star reviews and lots of return customers. Absolutely, Paul. I would assume your question in there would be laced with, why haven't I become a top-rated seller? And that's a great question, Paul. And I think there's a lot of people who have been for years, actually, trying to become a top-rated seller and have not become a top-rated seller. And it is definitely something that, you have to dive into and look at your stuff. I was there for a few months, and then I got into the Fiverr Seller Success Program, and I got a Fiverr manager who helped me through what I needed to do with my accounts and everything, and then I was able to become a top-rated seller. So it's a good question, Paul. Let's see. John Clark, how do you determine your rates? John, that is up to you, my friend. That is up to you. I mean, I've done many videos on this. I've done many videos on rate cards. I've done videos on, the GVAA, on using the standard, industry accepted rates as a starting place. But the biggest thing I can say is that, I'll use the term win in Rome. Right? Win in Rome. Okay. If you know what I'm talking about, you need to look at the site that you're on. In this case, we're talking about Fiverr, and you need to understand that there is a certain set of pricing that goes along with people on Fiverr and rates. And if you want to be successful on that site, you need to try that out or totally break the mold and try something else out. But you definitely have to figure that out. You got to figure that out, John. And, like I said, I would utilize what the site is telling you people are buying. Okay. I mean, I interviewed Red Horrocks, who's who is a Fiverr ambassador and has been on there for, almost 10 years, who helped ring in the bell for Fiverr when they went public and at the New York Stock Exchange. Amazing woman. And she charges $10, but she does 600 orders a month. I mean, so you have to think we're in a different way of understanding what the market can do, right? The market can do. So, you've got to just consider that. Okay. You got to consider that pricing now also has to consider the fact that you also have bulk, right? There's bulk orders you're getting more and more and more and more orders, right? And it might be lesser than the, $1,000 for 30 seconds, but that $1,000 for 30 seconds might have taken you a couple of months to get. Does that make sense? All right. So you've got to think what the trade-off is. And by the way, because, I know this for a fact, just because you offer that amount of money at the beginning doesn't mean that's what it actually ends up being because of all the extras. Chuck, good morning. What's up, Chuck? Good morning to you too. Let's see. Eric, oh, by the way, I might have been overlooking over here on Instagram. Sorry, guys. Frank said, do you think Fiverr boosts your views after you buy and watch one of their Learn videos? Yes. I meant that was the first thing I mentioned, Frank. Absolutely, they do. Yes, they do. That is how you can get a boost, and the only way at this point that you get your gig boosted without getting more business. Okay, let's see. If not told otherwise, do you pronounce it data or data? I'm assuming you're... Oh, which one do I do? Oh, that's a good one. I do data. Yeah. Let's see. But... Frank, that's a good question. This is a good thing for everybody. Make sure if you have a question like that, you ask the person, because I find that people in different places in the world want you to say these things differently. It was funny. I'm working with a client, and they've been working with me, and we've done a live session and everything, and they came back and did some things where they wanted me to try to copy and do it like they did it, and I went through and time synced it, and they're paying me a lot of money. So very happy to do this. But they set it up, but they're from Poland or somewhere. Anyways, point is they were saying some of the words, and I was using that, and because I a lot of times when I'm doing that, I listen to what they're saying and I use it that way. And they were saying some of the words, and then I said it like them, and then they came back and they said they wanted me to say them a different way because they don't pronounce it like they pronounce it like we would in the United States. So it was definitely something that sometimes you just got to understand. It's really what the client wants. Good question though. All right, let's see. Eric, spammers on Fiverr can be frustrating. Absolutely. But man, they are everywhere. That is definitely a price we pay of doing business online. Paul, looking forward to another session with Anthony, but would love any advice you have at this time. I will watch this later because I have good Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, Paul, I mentioned that before. Also, is the elite group on Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon as well? I thought I saw. Yeah, so Paul, the reason why it was on Sunday the other week was because I had a death in my family, and I had a memorial service I had to go through to on Saturday, so I had to reschedule, and I didn't want to cancel it for the weekend, so I rescheduled it on Sunday at 4 p.m. It is always on Saturday at 10 a.m. It was just an odd occurrence on that Sunday, so yeah, so that's why it was on Sunday. But good question, Paul. But this weekend, tomorrow, it will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Joe, when starting out, what's the best way to deal with spammers? Okay, so on Fiverr, you got to kind of feel it out, because a lot of times the spammers will tip their hat because they're trying to get you to contact them off the platform. They're trying to get you the Upwork. They don't even spell the stuff right half the time. And, so you can basically just hit the spam button. If you're on your phone, if you tap their name, it will pop up that you can actually hit spam. You can also block with the top 3 little dots in the upper right corner of your phone on the app. But if you tap on their name too, they're like picture their name, it will pop up, and there'll be like 2 things, and one will be like delete or one will be spam. I always hit the spam when that happens. That's how I deal with them immediately. I don't even engage. And once you do that, it will totally like make your account. You won't have to worry about getting dinged or anything. All right. Liz, part 2. What should I do to get noticed? Never mind. I heard your response to have as many gigs. Thanks. Awesome. Frank, hope you and your family have a great Christmas. Had a great Christmas. Thanks, Frank. I hope you did too. We had an amazing Christmas, and they're all still home for another week or so. So they had a couple of weeks off for break. So that's really been nice. And it's wanted me to, I want to spend even more time with them since they're home. So it's been really great. Thank you. Let's see. Professor Bauer, understand the rights model, but how do or can that be measured and managed? So I think that, and this again was something I was talking to the other day about it. It is something that you have to decide about what you are going to do when you are dealing with this situation, right? Like, are you going to be the person that follows up with someone who purchases rights, and are they using it correctly? Are you going to do that? Or are you going to build it as your model to where you completely just do a buyout no matter what? And then once they buy out, you're done and you move on. See, that's where you have to make that decision. And if you make the decision to where you are going to do licensing, that has to be very clear and upfront. Okay, I can tell you very specifically that from the top-rated seller side, not the pro seller side, because I don't know much about the pro seller side, but I know from the top-rated seller side, a lot of it is buyout. All right, there's not a lot of people that I'm aware of that are doing licensing rights for a specific amount of time on Fiverr. So that's definitely something for you to decide, though, and then make it very clear in your expectations, like your descriptions, like in your FAQs and your requirements, etc. Make sure people are fully aware of what you are doing and they understand, because that's not the general story on Fiverr. So if they come to you, they're going to be confused and they might say some things and it might piss you off, but you have to understand a lot of people who are on Fiverr are new. And that's why Fiverr is being disruptive too, because they've opened the market to people who've never been able to purchase voiceover work before. And because of that, there is a ton of business that's never been out there before. But because that it's open and free, you're also going to have people who are going to look for rates that are not normally what is accepted. So, good question, and you definitely need to, whatever you do, figure out your strategy for that. All right, Dwight, I used to do voiceovers years ago for a radio station where I had a show and we pumped out VOs usually in one take over the top of a music bed. Any suggestions on how to get over the dead air getting the right feeling and emotion. Do you also offer complete front to back services? I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say, Dwight. VO's usually in one take over the top of a music bed. Any suggestions on how to get over the dead air? Getting the right feeling and emotion. Do you also offer complete front to back service? If you could, Dwight, be a little bit more specific about the gig. I'm not sure I understand exactly, and I apologize because, I've never been in radio. So I'm not sure if you are talking about the fact that you would only do one take or something, and, it was, dealt like that. I'm not sure. So if you could elaborate, I'd appreciate it. Sorry. Chuck, let's see. When setting up a video, is there a standard way of doing that? Is an iPhone good enough quality? Sorry for the goofy question, got perplexed. Chuck, I'm assuming you're talking about the video for your Fiverr video. Absolutely not. Do not use your iPhone. Well, that's not true. I personally do videos completely different, and this is something else I teach about in the Fiverr Learn course, or the Fiverr Elite group, and that's something that we would go over there. But I have very specific rules and things that I believe for a video, because let's be honest, we are all different, and people will perceive us all as being different. And because of that, we have different spaces. Like when I was in my hobo fort, and that's what I called my packing blanket fort, I didn't feel that it was a good idea to do a video of me talking and people seeing blankets up in the background and me telling them. Now, I know, and I know you know, that just because we're in a hobo fort doesn't mean we can't do professional quality work, but the perception is not like that. And perception is important. People buy with their eyes, they click with their eyes, and then they listen to us. But you have to understand that is going to, make them feel off, whereas they come to someone who looks way more professional. So that is definitely something I talk about in the Fiverr Elite group. But you could definitely use an iPhone to record. Anything. It depends on what iPhone you have. I have the 11, of course, and it's absolutely incredible. So phones are really good if you set it up correctly. But I would be more interested in what you're taking a video of. You know what I'm saying? And be aware of that. Okay? All right. Because remember, you want people to hear your voice and to right away assume that it is professional as possible, and you're in a studio. I do have people, I've not as many, but I have people contact me who ask about the equipment I have. It's not as much, but some people do. All right. So, let's see. Florian, hi Anthony, just started Fiverr and got my gigs online about 5 days ago. What would be a good bar to set for impressions, clicks, and views? No orders yet. Thank you, Florian. That's a good question, and thanks for joining and listening. Congrats on getting on Fiverr. So just so you know, and I want you to know that it's a marathon, right? It's going to take a while. I've been on Fiverr for years. Some people, it takes a while to grow your business. But, for example, like my main gig where I am, and I don't by far get the most, I get about between 40 to 60,000 impressions a month on my main gig. And then I have another gig that gets about 20,000 impressions a month. And I have some gigs that get 1,000 impressions a month. Okay. And then the views and the clicks, I usually try to look at a 50-50 kind of thing, for, all the clicks and things I get and the views, they're like 50-50, for one, I get two. Does that make sense? For like every view I get, every 2 views I get a click, if that makes sense. So, you want to try, I try to do that, but the better one to pay attention to is actually your ratio too of like what's your orders. You know what I mean? And you can find that on your phone as well, like what's your percentage of your orders. That's a good one. But anyways, that is just a note that when you first start out, you might only have like 100 or 50 or 200 or 200 impressions. And your job then is to know that the more impressions you get, the more business you're going to get. There's no doubt about this, or the more opportunities you're going to get. So that is why your job is to keep building and keep trying out new things so you can get more impressions and get in front of more people. Okay. In the end, it does boil down to how much work is going through. Like, for example, I have one gig that I did that I promoted very heavily off of Fiverr. I didn't promote on Fiverr. I mean, it's on Fiverr, but all the business I started off came from off of Fiverr. Like I got it and brought that to Fiverr, and Fiverr boosted that gig because it had a high rate of, how many people were purchasing it based on how many people were looking at it, because I was bringing people to it. And then because of that, they boosted that gig up and up and up and up to where it was getting to 20,000 impressions a month. And then I started getting work from Fiverr because I was boosted and I'm like number one on that page. So, that is another way for you to get business as well, and to understand too that, it's a means to an end. Okay. So it is going to take time, but that's why in the beginning I was talking about you really got to try to find the cracks to get into. Okay. Good call. Good question. All right. Joe, Fiverr Friday is a fantastic idea. Awesome. All right. Joe Tay, delivering the read without music. Delivering the read without music. I don't know if you're answering Dwight's question up there, but I'm not sure. John, I have a Blue Yeti microphone. Would this be suitable for auditioning for work on Fiverr? And apologies if this is a stupid question. No, it's not stupid at all, John. I started out when I started out with a $40 blue snowball mic. It was the black, and they're actually like round balls, and I had a coat hanger. I had a metal coat hanger, and my wife let me use some pantyhose, and I made a pop filter out of a coat hanger and pantyhose, and that's how I started. And I didn't get much work on Fiverr, but I got a lot of work on ACX and audiobooks because I was able to do that. I used Adobe Audition. I still use Adobe Audition, but I started with Adobe Audition because I had the Adobe Suite. I had it anyways. I didn't even know Adobe Audition existed when I first started. And when I was looking for what a DAW was, that's how I got that. But yeah, I started out with a $40 microphone, and I got work on ACX, and I did a few jobs here or there on Fiverr. But, as I got better, I bought better equipment. That helped a lot more. And I will say, now that I have the equipment I have, that's no longer a question. But when I was first starting out, it was always on my mind. I need better equipment. If I wish I had a better mic, et cetera, et cetera. And to some extent, it does matter. But it is also indicative of where you are right now in your career and what you can and cannot do. Meaning, like, what is it that you can produce? What is it that you can't produce? I found, though, and I will tell you this, the better equipment that I get, the less problems I have with mixing and editing and noise issues and things like that. Right? I mean, because I realize that, it's the sound is actually pretty decent. I mean, a lot of mics give you a good sound with your voice, but the challenge is the quality of the build they have, is there excess noise, coming through the microphone or the interface that you have and stuff that's causing issues, or is there artifacts that are being created that you cannot get out yourself? That does happen, but that doesn't mean there aren't amazing microphones and equipment out there for an inexpensive price. So, but I would say that for you, the Blue Yeti is a decent mic, but you definitely want to start to try to get to a condenser or a good quality dynamic microphone that's, a little bit, better, let me rephrase, it gives you a little bit more options. But listen, if you start getting work with the Blue Yeti, go for it. I'm all about breaking the mold and doing stuff that's working. If it works for you, great. If you find that you've exhausted all of your efforts and you just can't figure it out, there are times where you have to make drastic changes. Sometimes if you look at your gear and nothing is working and your gear is not, the quality at which you believe in your heart it should be, that is something that you need to highly consider. I'm not going to be one of those people that sit here and tell you all the time, you don't need gear. You can do it with your thumb and a toothpick and a and a hole in the wall, and you'll make millions. No, I mean you got to have some good gear, okay? But at the same time, you got to do it smartly. I don't know where toothpick and a hole in the wall. I have no idea what that is about. But you know what I'm saying, though, right? There comes a progression. So I would say that what I don't want you to do, though, is to not try. Don't not try because you don't have the best equipment you feel. Keep trying, and as you go along, build up, save up, get the next piece of equipment as you go up till you get to that top tier of equipment that you can get. One very important piece of equipment that I would recommend people really look at first is their interface. This is not talked about because it's not sexy like a new microphone or a whisper room or speakers or whatever, but your interface, okay, that's the thing that takes your analog signal and turns it into a digital signal. Okay, your interface is one of the most important pieces of equipment that you have, and you need to spring for that one. Okay, don't go chintzy on your interface. That was my biggest mistake for a long period of time because I had like a $99 interface. And there's nothing wrong starting out like that. But as I wanted to get more professional, that interface, I got the Apollo Twin, the Universal Audio Apollo Twin, the new one, and it changed my sound completely. It changed so much. And then there was also a bunch of presets because it's a digital interface, meaning that I can have presets. So like if you have like let's say for example you have an audio box or a Scarlett, right? In order to have an insert, meaning like in order to have something pre-done to your audio before it goes into your computer, you have to have an insert, like the 280, the DBX 286S, right? Like that's an insert. So that's why like it's inserted into your, you go through the DBX, then it goes through the DBX, then it goes into your interface, and then your interface sends it into your computer, right? That's like an insert. With the Apollo Twin, all the inserts are online. It's digital, so you don't have to have any of that stuff. You can buy hundreds of them. And so basically for me, what happens is my workflow, I have everything pre-done. So like right now as I'm recording to you, it's going through my system and there's compression being added automatically. There's bad frequencies that are being taken out automatically before you even hear it right now, and I'm live. And it's also done with my recording. So that way it goes faster for me. And but again, that's expensive because that was about $1,000 to $1,200. So it's an expensive piece of equipment, but I didn't realize how important it was until I got it and heard the difference. All right, that went off on a tangent there. Joe, coming from radio and music, we can get used to having the music in our head to influence the vocals. With no music bed, getting the right energy is a new art to learn. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that, coming from radio that you would definitely need to learn, or you have music playing through your, I listen to music sometimes as mood if I'm trying to get a certain mood, absolutely. But yeah, I'm not used to having music for everything. So, I see it in my head, and that's something that each of us has to figure out. But there's no problem using music to, if you pipe it through your headset and then, use that and help you narrate in the mood. I've done that before, and that helps if I'm having an issue. Simone, happy holidays, Anthony. Hope you and your family are well. Thank you. You too, Simone. Joe, what that other guy was talking about? Right. Chuck, thank you. Zach, I always hear that the treatment of your space is even more important than most of the equipment. Absolutely. Well, yes, absolutely. The treatment of your space should be number one. No doubt. Okay. No doubt. Because you can have all the fancy equipment in the world, but if your space is not treated, then all that fancy equipment will make the space that sounds really bad. It'll make sure everybody hears it really well, how bad it sounds. So yes, you want to make sure that you treat your space to the nines first, okay, as much as possible. That is the very first thing that you should do. Absolutely. So that is correct. John, my plan to start out and reinvest. I would rather try and fail to try. Absolutely. Yes, the demo video will reach out soon for assistance. Sounds great, Chuck. Well, hey, you guys, thank you so much. DJ over on Instagram, you got a question. I started a template that I keep in my notes. This template welcomes my customers and deters spammers. Oh, I like that. It's a welcomer to new clients and deters people who want to pay to borrow up profile. Works great. Oh yeah, man, there's so many of those, right? That try to get us to start an Upwork profile and give it to them, and they want to pay monthly. What is up with that? Well, I can tell you this: that's what they're doing that to, run scams through other people, and it's illegal stuff. So I mean, totally crazy. Looks like my wife is watching this as well. Thank you, Mrs. Pika. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Absolutely, John. I appreciate your time. Remember, make sure that you get an opportunity to check out the Fiverr Elite course. I did post it here, but it will be in the link description below, or you can go to www.aviosjourney.com, and it's the first one there. We'd love to have you, or if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment below or message me. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, under Avios Journey. VO's, like VOS Journey, a VO's Journey. And I'd love to have you a part of that group. Thank you guys so much. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. I will see you next week on Monday. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye.